So Southampton, they were, in my opinion, unfairly punished. Now, I understand there should have been a punishment. I'm not going to gloss over it, say that there shouldn't be a punishment. There should be a punishment for Southampton for the actions they did. But I think, there's a lot of people in the football world as well who thought that Southampton's punishment was too extreme. I think that Southampton should have had, at least a fine or a points deduction for the next season. But an expulsion from the playoff final was absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, yes, there's no place for cheating and whatever, and pulling a England version of the New England Patriots. But at the end of the day, I don't think we've ever seen a punishment that harsh. And to see Manchester City sit here with 115 charges years later and nothing has happened, and just like that, Southampton gets like that, that is absolutely disappointing to me. I am very frustrated with the English Football League, and I don't think that was fair. I think they should have at least been allowed to play in the playoff final. Have a massive fine on them. Have a transfer ban or something like that. Have a point deduction on them. But putting a point deduction on them and an expulsion for the playoff final was absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that as a Southampton fan. I'm just saying that in football in general, because here's the thing. Manchester City is another example. Yes, they have 115 charges on them. If they're found guilty, that's a major thing. But I don't think they should go, and the Premier League should go and take away those titles. I think the title should stay. I think they should have either a point deduction, they should have a transfer ban, or they should have a massive fine. And honestly, if I was a Premier League, I would take the massive fine on them because it was all financial charges. But I'm not an advocate for taking away the trophies. I'm not an advocate for taking away the things, because here's the thing. That was a club's decision. That wasn't the players' decision, and the fans were affected by this too. And that's unfair on the fans. As speaking as a fan now at this point, that's ridiculous to me. And to have another club in the championship go and continuously complain to get into the playoff final, and then have the opportunity to get into the playoff final and then not win in the playoff final is another ridiculous thing. Hull City was the team actually deserved to be in that playoff final out of anybody, and I'm glad that they're going to the Premier League. So big ups to Hull City. I'm very happy for them, but this was absolutely a ridiculous situation all the way around. Last week I had talked about, as a fan, how excited I was for the opportunity to have the team go back into the Premier League, and they took that away from not only myself, but all the Southampton fans. Southampton is a smaller club. Southampton is a yo-yo club. The fans are on a roller coaster. We're not the big six that there is in England. We're not Man City. We're not Arsenal. We're not Man United. We're not Tottenham, even though they almost got relegated. We're not Chelsea. We're not Liverpool. We're not any of them. We're a club that's a yo-yo club. We've had great players. We had Mane, we had Van Dijk, we had Ward-Prowse. We had all these players on our team that got plucked off by all these big six teams or these big teams in Europe. Even Dusan Tadic was on the team for a while. And, we're a club with die-hard fans who will go on the roller coaster of emotions. I was with this team when they were up in the Premier League doing well, right after Virgil van Dijk left and everybody, and they kind of slipped off, and then they ended up getting relegated, and I was still there. They got promoted again. I was there. They got relegated again with one of the most atrocious seasons in club history and the second worst ever points-wise in the Premier League. I was there for all of that, and all of the other Southampton fans were there too, and this was a very hopeful moment. All the pieces were in place. Noah Telford, one of our great friends here at RDSC, I was actually talking to him about this a couple of days ago, and I had seen this under the Southampton post on Instagram about the situation. A fan had said this, and I agree with it. And the premise of this whole entire thing was this team was primed to have a good jump in the Premier League. There's a bunch of young players that were doing well. We had a great keeper that we're going to be able to keep. We had the ability to either keep our manager or go get a better manager. The pieces were all in place. We could have had a great offseason to be able to bring in everybody in the transfer window and maintain a presence in the Premier League. All of the pieces were set. The youth was there. Everything was there. And that got taken away from the fans and the players. And that's what hurts. You can punish the club all you want, but there's no reason you should go punishing the players who are giving their hearts out and the fans who are singing and supporting their hearts out every single game. It was absolutely ridiculous. And shame on the EFL for that, because this was an absolutely ridiculous punishment. This was never done before. This has never been seen of. And to have fans and players alike suffer for the club's own decisions is ridiculous. If you're going to punish anybody, it's got to be the ownership. It's got to be the club, and the club has to be held accountable. And now Southampton's ownership and the club and everybody inside of it and whoever manages the club, they have to bring back that trust to the club, because the fans got hurt in this and the players got hurt in this. And what's the sad thing is we're going to watch players walk away from the club. We're going to have fans who's going to see these great players we're so excited to see, or this possibility of having this opportunity to go in the Premier League and make a statement and stay up. And that's gone. And the fans have to deal with this, and the players have to deal with this, and the players are going to move on. And who's going to get hurt in all of this? The fans, the ones who sit there and watch it every single game, whether they're at St. Mary's, whether they're in Southampton, whether they're around the world, whether they're here in the United States. I woke up multiple times at 5, 6 in the morning to watch them play. I was super excited to wake up last weekend and watch them play in a playoff final to get back. I thought there was going to be a great game between Hull City and them. I thought they had the opportunity and the team to be able to get to the Premier League and hold themselves up. And the EFL took that away from the fans, and the EFL took that opportunity away from the players. That's absolutely ridiculous, unacceptable, and I have to call them out for that. And I'm not just saying this as a fan of Southampton, but I mean, if this were to happen to another club, that would be ridiculous too. I would defend that, because at the end of the day, whatever the club does hurts everybody else. Yeah. And, same thing for Man City. I know everybody doesn't want to feel bad for Man City, but the club made those own decisions. It wasn't the players. The players were just the ones who signed their contract and played their hearts out for them. It wasn't Pep Guardiola's fault either. And it's not the fans' fault either, because the fans were just supporting the team. So nobody should be hurt except for the club and who's ever in ownership or management or any executive position. Those are the ones who should be hurt. I think if you're gonna do anything against these teams for what they call unfair play, then it needs to be some financial kind of thing or point stocking. And Sheffield Wednesday, as much as I kind of was on them about having a point deduction and everything, I feel bad for Sheffield Wednesday fans because of an ownership situation. That's why they were deducted so many points. And that's ridiculous, because the fans, they're not the ones who own the club. They're not the ones who are making these decisions and these financial decisions. They're giving the club money. They're giving them their hard-earned dollars to buy kits, to buy scarves, to buy anything of any merchandise, to buy a ticket and watch them, for all the revenue they get from commercials and everything. These fans got hurt. And it's unfair that these players and these fans get hurt by these clubs' actions. And the EFL and the Premier League and the entire system of the English FA in general need to fix this, because this is ridiculous. People are who poured their lives into this, who poured their hearts and souls. Everybody has the opportunity to do whatever they want. They work a hard week and they have a weekend where they can go and do whatever they want. And they sit there and they support their team and they watch their team. And there's, fans here in the United States who support teams of that stature too in England. And they get hurt by these decisions from the FA, from the Premier League, from the EFL, whatever you want to name it. They get hurt by that, and it's ridiculous. And I think that there needs to be something changed about this, because at the end of the day, who cares about the clubs? They're a bunch of billionaires, they're a bunch of millionaires, whatever. They can face the repercussions, they can face monetary repercussions, but the fans who pour their hearts and souls in the teams and the players who leave their hearts and souls out on the pitch don't deserve it. And that's what I got to say about that.